This is Kutv Primetime News with Auma Evans.
Right, we begin in the nation's capital. Now, President William Ruto and Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi have urged religious leaders to take leading role in promoting peace, dialogue, and national unity ahead of the next year's general election. The two leaders made their appeal during a meeting with thousands of members and leaders of the Friends Church, commonly known as Quakers, at State House, Nairobi. Brian Auma starts us off tonight with the following report.
Jameni, musikubali tupelekwe mahali ya karata ya pata potea. Watu ambao hawana mpango yoyote, hawajapanga chochote, hawana maono, hawana mpango, hawana sera, hawana agenda. Tusiende kule, tutapotea. Yes, kila kiongozi bwana apimwe na ile kazi amefanya. Haiwezekani kwamba umekuwa Kenya hii ukirandaranda miaka 40 hakuna chochote umefanya alafu unasema tukupatie uongozi.
The head of state highlighted progresses in agriculture, healthcare, education, infrastructure, and job creation, saying these sectors form the foundation of his administration transformation agenda. He reiterated his government's ambition of steering Kenya towards upper middle income economic status within the next decade and urged Kenyans to support leaders with clear, proven leadership.
Uchumi ya Kenya sasa, I can speak with authority. Uchumi ya Kenya sasa ni dhabiti. Hatuna tishio la nchi yetu kukosa kulipa madeni. Hatuna tena tishio ya sisi kukosa pesa ya exchange rate ama ya kulipa ile vitu yote tunahitaji. We have enough foreign exchange in our economy, and we have stabilized the economy of Kenya.
Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi called on the church to remain a voice of wisdom and reconciliation, warning against divisive politics and ethnic intolerance, saying national unity remains the strongest foundation for Kenya's stability and prosperity.
The leadership of this nation is not about ethnic polling. It's not about tribalism. It is about safeguarding the lives of all the 55, 56 million people in Kenya. And that is the responsibility that we bestowed on President William Ruto through the ballot.
With political campaigns steadily gathering momentum, the meeting underscored the growing role of faith-based institutions in shaping public discourse. As leaders continue to compete for political support, attention now turns to whether calls for unity and dialogue will help ease the country's increasingly charged political atmosphere. Brian Auma, Kutv.
And as the country gradually shifts its focus to the 2027 general election, the political future of Deputy President Kithure Kindiki increasingly becoming a subject of intense debate. Although Kindiki has repeatedly affirmed his loyalty to President William Ruto, maintaining that he remains the president's running mate, the tussle for the second-in-command seat has placed his position under fresh scrutiny, as Vincent Karoli now tells us in the following report.
Kwa mara ya mwisho, wananchi wa Kenya ni fire si fire.
Several influential Orange Democratic Movement ODM leaders, including Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho, Homa Bay Governor Gladys Wanga, Cabinet Secretary Wycliffe Oparanya and Kisii Governor Simba Arati, are being touted as potential contenders for Deputy President's position, intensifying speculation over who could join President Ruto on the 2027 presidential ticket.
Of you, Governor, what I know of these lady, what I know of this lady, mpaka saa zingine halali ninaenda kwake mimi nikisavu wageni juu ninafunga leso, ninasavu wageni kama MP wake, alafu ninamwambia please ma'am, pumzika leo. Ananiwacha hapo jikoni, mimi ninamuona kwa mtandao, ndio huyo alishafika sijui rally gani. Huyu ni mama atawafanyia kazi na roho yake yote. Wangapi wanafuata Dr. Oburu party leader?
ODM leader Oburu Odinga says the party is determined to secure the deputy president's position in the 2027 general election, arguing that ODM deserves the role because of its expected contribution to the next government.
We are not going to leave anything out. Those who thought that we are not going to demand for deputy president, that is one of them. We must demand because it is not the only issue, but it is one of them.
ODM members have continued to express strong interest in securing the deputy president's position ahead of the next general election. Speaking during a political rally in Turkana on July 29, 2026, ODM Deputy Party Leader Simbarati said the party is ready to take up the deputy president's seat, arguing that ODM deserves an equal share in the next government. Meanwhile, in Kisii on Sunday, Simbarati was officially endorsed by a section of ODM supporters as their preferred candidate for deputy president position. The move has sparked mixed reaction among political leaders and residents, with many now debating its implications for the party's future and the formation of the next government.
In which the ODM party is expected to support a broad-based political coalition rather than field its own political candidates, we respectfully submit that His Excellency the President William Samoei Ruto should be considered as the coalitionist presidential candidate, while His Excellency Governor Paul Simbarati should be considered for the position of the deputy president as the coalitionist running mate. We believe such a ticket would represent a powerful message of national unity, inclusivity, regional balance, and political stability.
The contest for ODM's deputy president slot is gathering pace, with party leaders openly backing different candidates, while Hassan Joho continues to be viewed as a leading contender from the Coast region. Junet Mohammed, during a recent political rally in Malava, endorsed Wycliffe Oparanya for the position. However, speaking in a recent interview on a local television station, Oparanya dismissed the claims, describing the reports as mere speculation.
Mimi sijaongea juu ya Butu. Mukiona sasa mtu ananitusi, mjue nilikuwa naongea juu ya huyo Butu. Mimi sijaongea juu ya Butu, lakini mukiona mtu ananitusi, mjue huyo ndio mimi nilikuwa naongea juu ya. Ukiona mtu ananitusi kesho, ujue huyo ndio nilikuwa naongea juu yake. Kwa hiyo machache, asanteni sana. Sasa nataka kuchukua nafasi hii kualika the incoming deputy president of the Republic of Kenya, Wycliffe Oparanya.
Kindiki and his allies have dismissed ODM push for the deputy president seat, with Kindiki maintaining that the position is untouchable.
Kiti ya naibu wa rais wa taifa la Kenya haiko wazi. Kiti ya naibu wa taifa ya Kenya ni ya Profesa Kithure Kindiki and nobody can touch us. Na tunasema kama ni chama ODM, hata sisi tuko tayari kuwa uko ndani ya hiyo chama, na tuendelee kusupport Daktari William Ruto, na mwache kutukera. Hii maneno ikome. Ama namna gani jamani? Hamwezi kuwa mnaamka kila siku kiti ya naibu rais, tena kiti ya naibu rais, kila asubuhi kiti ya naibu rais. Kwani hiyo kiti iko wazi?
Vincent Karoli, KUTV.
All right, the second in command seat evidently is pretty hot, or shall I say the hottest. And the contention is really catching up a lot of momentum from a section of every leaders from each region eyeing the second in command seat. Anyway, now let's move on. Mkuruini Member of Parliament John Kagusha was earlier today arrested by detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations over alleged incitement remarks made during a political rally in Kieni, Nyeri County. Kagusha was arrested after spending the night at the Royal Media Services offices in Nairobi, where he claimed security officers were pursuing him. The arrest has been condemned by opposition leaders who termed it as selective justice, while insisting that all leaders should be held equally accountable under the law.
I saw a lot of hype yesterday by the government structures and machinery on my political utterances that I did on Saturday in one of the political rallies, which I saw were being pushed as being inflammatory. You see, that is an issue that falls under the purview of the NCIC as a commission, and that is an independent commission. I have not received any summons from them. All I have seen is social media posts, which of course were also twisted.
Social media posts from who?
From Itumbi, some of the other government-leaning MPs, particularly from Nyeri and from Mount Kenya region. And some of those tweets and some of those social media posts that were being posted were also twisted to fit into a certain narrative that was being pushed.
And now, health matters. Health services in majority of hospitals nationwide was paralyzed, with the nurses in Kisumu and Kenyatta National Hospital staging protest in Kisumu Central Business District and Kenyatta National Hospital respectively. The nurses are demanding the implementation of their collective bargaining agreement, or if you prefer the acronym CBA, confirmation of universal health coverage workers, employment on permanent and pensionable terms, and the resolution of other pending grievances. The strike has affected operations in public hospitals, leaving many patients unable to access essential medical services. Let's stay on matters health for a bit. Health workers' strike in Embu County entered its second week today. Striking nurses have accused the county government of failing to honor a return to work formula. The union says unresolved salary arrears, delayed promotions and other unmet commitment have left many of them with no option but to continue with their industrial action until their demands are addressed. Yvonne Shirisha with the details.
Health workers in Embu County have entered the second week of their strike, accusing the county government of breaking a return to work agreement. The county had agreed to settle salary arrears in 2 installments through a supplementary budget. This is according to officials from Kenya National Union of Nurses and Midwives and the Kenya National Union of Pharmaceutical Theologists. However, they assert that the supplementary budget was never factored in, despite this year's budget allocating approximately 83 million shillings for their payment.
Tulikuwa tumeagree ilipwe in 2 installment. The first one ilikuwa supplementary budget ambayo haikuweza kukua factored in kwa supplementary budget ya 2025-2026. So waliweza kutuelezea kwamba kwa budget ya hii mwaka wameallocate 83 million ambayo wameweka kwa budget ya hii mwaka. Ile ya supplementary budget hawakuweza kuweka. So tunajiuliza hiyo pesa tulikuwa tumeagree na wakasign ya kwamba wataallocate kwa supplementary budget.
The officials further alleged that health workers are threatened whenever they raise concerns over their welfare. They also claim that issues contained in the consent agreement, including promotion, employment and other labor matters, have not been implemented.
Tukiibua haya maneno tunapewa vitisho. Tunapewa vitisho ya kwamba sijui hawa wanasapoti ule mrengo wa siasa, sijui wako wapi. Sisi tungetaka tuambie governor kinanga ubanga, kwa sababu tuliona statement yake ya kwanza katika mtandao
ya kwamba ametulipa mshahara. Sisi hatuko nje kwa sababu ya mshahara. Tuko nje kwa sababu ya issues ambazo siko kwa consent, na kwa consent hakuna kitu kama mshahara.
The union has dismissed claim that the strike is politically motivated, insisting their demands are purely professional and aimed at improving service delivery and workers' welfare.
Sisi hatuko katika mgomo kwa sababu ya mshahara. Kwa hivyo ni vizuri awe anaelewa wafanyikazi wake kule kwa ground ni nini ambacho wanachopitia. Asituhusishe sisi na siasa. Sisi hatutabui mambo ya hiyo siasa iko katika nchi yetu, sijui 1 term, sijui 2 term, sijui 0 term, sijui nini. Sisi we are professionals, na tangu tuanjiriwe tumeona presidents wengi wamekuja wametuacha tukiwa civil servants. Tumeona governors wengi wamekuja wametuacha tukiwa civil servants. Na bado tutaendelea kutumikia wananchi wa
With negotiations still at standstill, health workers say the ball is now in the county government court. Until the agreement commitments are honored, they insist the strike will continue, leaving public hospital in Embu operating under severe disruption. Yvonne Shirisha, KUTV.
And at the same time, it is a relief for thousands of residents in Runyenje sub-county in Embu County after the national and county governments rolled out 1.7 billion water project to tackle chronic water shortages and reduce waterborne diseases. The project, implemented through the Kieni Water Project by the Tana Water Works Development Agency and funded by the National Treasury under the Financing Locally Led Climate Action Program, is expected to benefit more than 2,000 households.
A project that is intended to enhance supply of water to the communities in Runyenje's constituency and the sub-county for that matter. There has been some insufficient water supply to our homes after the increase of populations, which demanded for more water increase to the pipelines, and which is leading to the domestic.
As we speak, we are estimating around more than 2,000 beneficiaries wenye watafaidika na hii maji, na tunaambia governor ongera sana na endelea kutufanyia mambo kama hiyo anatufanyia. Hadi watu walikuwa naenda for more than 2 kilometers wakiendea maji huko kwa mito, na at least hapa tunaona kuna suluhisho.
Right, that story takes us to our first break here on KUTV Primetime News. Remember, we still have plenty more in store for you. But first thing first, let's take this very short breather. We'll be back with more.
Naona tumeweza kukatiana.
So be it. We were never friends in the first place.
Naona tumeenda mbali sana. Moyo na mtoto wa Dr. Lumumba akikuja huku Sayuni.
You're joking, right? I love the way you are talking to the Pandora's box. So now you have a So now he has a share.
Welcome back and thank you for choosing to stay with us. Let's keep you informed. Now, the Methodist Church in Kenya, Laity Fellowship, has demanded the immediate arrest and prosecution of individuals implicated in the alleged loss of more than 600 million shillings in church funds, accusing some senior church leaders of frustrating efforts to enforce accountability by suppressing the findings of forensic audit. Listen in.
Speaking in Kwale County after the Coast Laity Convention, MCK Laity Fellowship President Dr. Hiram Mureithi spoke about the widespread cases of fraud and theft involving church resources uncovered during the forensic audit.
Much needs to be done in the Methodist Church in Kenya to stem the loss of church funds and resources through corruption, theft, misplaced priorities, and impunity. We call on the stakeholders at all levels of the church to affirm commitment to moral uprightness, integrity, accountability, and above everything else, godliness in the management of the affairs of our beloved church. The commitment to these values should be demonstrated not through lip service, but solid actions. We have been watching with a keen spiritual eye the deliberate inaction and attempts to cover up and frustrate the implementation of the two key reports that were mandated by the 58th Conference to bring accountability in the management of the church resources and the alleged grabbing of church land by some leaders.
In response, the fellowship demands the immediate implementation of the recommendations from the forensic audit, insisting all individuals affiliated with the alleged losses be investigated and prosecuted.
We, as members of the Laity Fellowship, cannot remain silent while the conscience and the soul of our church is put to test. Today, we stand on the unchanging foundation of truth and ask those who participated, conspired, and quietly cheered the illegal sting of Reverend Deye through false ones and framed allegations to do one honorable thing, to repent.
Renewed calls for justice over the disputed 54-acre Jomvu church land in Mombasa were raised, alleging irregular subdivision of the property and misappropriation of the proceeds from the sale.
Kama huo na kanisa letu liweze kuwa kanisa ambako kila mtu akiingia hapo asihesabiwe na lile kule alikotoka, asihesabiwe na elimu alionayo, lakini ahesabiwe kama Mkristo na ahesabiwe na haki zote ambazo kanisa linalo, linapeana.
Despite all this, members remain hopeful that implementation of the recommendations will help solve church disputes, strengthen governance, promote accountability, and restore confidence in the institution.
All right. As political temperatures continue to rise ahead of the 2027 general election, Narok leaders led by Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu have urged residents, especially youth, to reject incitement and violence. The leaders are now calling on the parents to take up more parenting roles and guide their children out of harm's way. Petra Faith reports.
Narok County leaders led by the County Governor Patrick Ole Ntutu have urged for peaceful coexistence to remain a priority as the country ages closer to the next general election.
Musiweze kutumiwa na mtu yote kuja kukuambia mambo ya chama. Je, tukichafua hii town kwa sababu ya kiti moja ama kiti mbili ya watu ambayo wanataka? Na hii town juzi nimesema sitaki tena kuona maandamano. Maandamano ni ya kuharibu vitu. Wacha wanasiasa waje waseme mambo yao, mtu aseme ajenda yake, aende zake. Lakini sio kukuja kugonganisha watu ambao wameishi pamoja.
The leaders strongly condemned hateful and inflammatory politics that threaten national unity. They urged young people not to allow being used to spread division or fuel violence, but instead be ambassadors of peace.
We should not hate each other because of politics. Let's love each other. Let us compete competitively with love.
Tushikane tufanye siasa ya amani. Tupea raia kiwanja mzuri ambayo atachagua ile viongozi wanataka. Sisi tupige marufuku katika Narok County. Katika hii mji wetu tusiwahi kuona kitu inaitwa guns. katika hii mji wetu na katika Kenya mzima.
Kenyans were reminded that despite political differences, they remain one people with a shared responsibility to protect peace, with the leaders highlighting the country's diversity should be a source of strength rather than conflict.
Watu ni hawa. Hatuna watu ambao wako ng'ambo ile na ng'ambo hiyo nyingine. Watu ni jamii moja, hii ni familia moja, na viongozi ndio ugawanya watu. Mimi nataka kuomba tuunganishe watu wetu wote. Kwa sababu hawa watu mwisho ikifika tarehe ya mwaka ujao, hawa watu wataangalia kila mtu kulingana na mizani, sio mahali mtu yuko. Mtaangalia mama county amefanya kazi gani.
The leaders also appealed to parents and guardians to make good use of the school holidays to guard and closely monitor their children, stating that this close parental care can help them shield from drugs, crime and other harmful influences while schools remain closed.
Hapa Majengo pombe haramu imekuwa ikiingia. Tumekuwa tukisumbuana sana hapa na idara ya usalama. Tafadhali wewe ukiwa mzazi, chunga mtoto wako. Chunga mtoto wako, hakikisha ako salama, tusianze kupata early pregnancy watoto wakianza kurudi shule. Tulipitisha bill ya hawa vijana, empowerment, ya youth policy. Tunaomba hiyo bill iweze kufanya kazi ili watoto wetu waache kushinda wanasumbua wewe hapa.
The leaders said peaceful elections begin with responsible leadership, united communities and strong families, urging every Kenyan to play a role in preserving harmony before, during and after the 2027 general election. Petra Faith, KUTV.
Let's switch gears to motors transport. Now, the National Transport and Safety Authority, in collaboration with traffic police, has intensified a crackdown on pedestrians failing to use designated footbridges along major highways in Nairobi. The operation, conducted on Mombasa Road and Thika Superhighway, has seen dozens arrested for jaywalkings as authorities seek to curb the rising number of pedestrians fatalities. NTSA says the enforcement targets reckless road users who ignore safe crossing points despite the availability of bridges, while some Kenyans have welcomed the move as a necessary improved road safety. Others are calling for enhanced public awareness and a better pedestrian infrastructure. All right, now let's take another very short break. We'll be back with sports news.
We know life gets busy, but your well-being is of great importance. At KUTV's Focus on Health, we cut through the clutter, bringing you expert advice to keep you well informed for your well-being and that of your family. Every Thursday, 7:30 p.m., join me, Yvonne Kemuma, as we bring you health and wellness right at home.
Naona tumeanza kukatiana.
So be it. We were never friends in the first place.
Naona tumeenda mbali sana. Moyo na mtoto wa Dr. Lumumba akikuja huku Sayuni.
You're joking, right? I love the way you are talking to the Pandora's box. So now you have so now he has a share.
Right, it's now time for sporting action. Now, the Harambee Starlets will take on Algeria tonight at 11 p.m. East African time in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Rabat in Morocco. The Starlets are targeting their first victory in Group A after suffering defeats in their opening two matches against host Morocco and Senegal. They must produce a strong performance in this crucial encounter to keep their hopes of reaching the quarterfinals alive.
The Harambee Starlets are yet to score a goal in this year's WAFCON tournament, having lost both two of their group stage matches. Despite the setbacks, the squad remains optimistic, with head coach Beldina Odemba expressing confidence that her team can finish the tournament on a positive note with a good result against Algeria.
Approaches are different. You have to see who's your opponent, how your opponent is playing. So that is why approach differs from one match to the other. You're going to see maybe a good quality or a better quality than you saw in the previous match, but of course the approach is going to be different.
Goalkeeper Liliana Woor emphasized that she has not lost hope despite the disappointing results so far. She said the team is ready to fight and believe they can surprise Algeria in what is expected to be a highly competitive match.
You know, football najua kuna surprises. Na maybe we can give our best to win na maybe to qualify. You never know. Due to prepared mentality, we're still strong mentally, and 90 minutes will decide.
Although their chances of qualification are slim, the Harambee Starlets remain focused on ending their campaign strongly against Algeria. To stand any chance of advancing to the WAFCON quarterfinals in Morocco, they will need to win by a 6-goal margin. Vincent Karoli, KUTV.
Right now, Ukwasini FC from Machakos County were crowned champions of the Irene Danu Cup after defeating Masai United 2-0 in the final at Nyayo National Stadium in Nairobi. The victory earned Ukwasini FC the championship trophy and a cash prize of 1 million Kenyan shillings.
I love grass football. When it comes to grass football, I support it so well. So hearing the project, I think it's huge. What I like, I like to support these young ones coming up. So maybe in Kenya is here to support a very, very good project. Grassroots is to learn the basics. Grassroots, you teach the kids how to have that strong background from where they want to start. When you have a strong background, for example, this football thing, when you have a strong background, you get to the professional level, it's good to pass through the ranks. So that is why I'm here. The most important thing is to get a strong background, and that is the grassroots football, and that is why I'm here. Yes, Kenyan football, I think is doing all right. Statistically, I always compare them to Ghana. Ghana is ahead of Kenya when it comes to football, and I think they lack the basics. There are a lot of talent here, but for what we've seen growing up, it looks like Kenya focus more on athletics more than the football. And I think people are here that can play soccer well. So when they don't have the support, they give up. And that is why we are here. So this project tallies with what we want to do, have these kids to have that basics and strong background to make sure they can get to the professional level.
And I think in terms of supporting grassroots football, it's very important. Na tunataka kurally watu wengine wakuja wa support kitu captain anafanya, because grassroots football is what we need to do, and that is what we need to do for us to propel as a country in terms of football. So through our talent development scheme, tutasukuma kabisa, na hizi initiatives by captain hizo tunakuja kusukuma kama FKF. Tunaingia mashinani kabisa, tuko na project zetu kama FKF za kuingia mashinani, scouting programs, youth programs, kwa hivyo.
Right, it's a wrap. That's your news update. My good name is Auma. James Tava has been a sign language interpreter tonight. Until next time, do have a lovely night. And as always, God bless.
Are you an aspiring media practitioner, a graduate, or you just want to advance your skills in television production? Then welcome to Kenyatta University.